About will Delhi rise to the occasion or not? I think that's a very difficult question to answer, but still I would like to throw some light on it. You see, India in general and Delhi in particular, we are very good, uh, loan takers. India has a very good record of returning every loan and every loan on time. So we are favorites with the World Bank, and World Bank tries to give us more and more money because it's good for their bottom line. And therefore, although we may not know about it, but the top echelons of the government are always to be found sitting with World Bank experts, listening to some harebrained schemes, which are having the motive of promoting industry of some place or the other. So as long as this will continue and that money has to be given as loans, I'm sure we'll continue listening about more and more schemes like these. The solutions are, within our grasp. Himanshu has mentioned many of them. And there's lots we can do before we ever need to look for these kind of loans. So now what can be done? I think the aware citizenry can exert more pressure on the government to look at the solutions which are around us, then go about rushing to, dams like Renuka. This, with all due regards, I would also like to say that we very often say that water is running waste to the sea. I heard Mr. Mukesh Ambani advising the government that water is running waste to the sea and during the monsoons. That's not correct. Everything in nature provides an environmental service. Excess water pressure at the estuary, at the deltas, flushes out a lot of sediment, which enables the ecosystems in those areas, like the Sundarbans, to survive and provide the ecosystem services, which, if had to be provided by mechanical means, would be astronomical. So I think we should not think about so much about killing the flow of our rivers, making them endemic. Rather, we should see how we can recycle more water and enable our rivers to provide at least the environmental flow and ecosystem services which we do deserve. Thank you.
Actually, I'm now very unhappy. But anyway, this is very unfair, Mr. Bajaj. But anyway, I will try and pay back in the same coin. But, I mean, I think to answer two questions, that are very good question that came up. But both are similar. That how can we improve the situation? How can participation help? What is the way forward? And I think that's the key of the problem. How we can improve the governance? Yeah.
Beyond governance, I would also like participation. I would also like to include how spatial knowledge can be incorporated. We always often read about technical knowledge, this and that. But it seems, as you said, there were 1,500 aquifers in and around
Water bodies.
Sorry. And then all of them managed,
Large number of them. Yeah.
Large number of them managed. And then you can count on fingers how many of them now. So and those were the ones who were there because of the local knowledge. People actually tried to preserve them.
Absolutely.
Can we include spatial knowledge, the knowledge, that traditional knowledge that people have, and then we can bring out to a forum where make it more of a participative platform, and where we can make a model as a governance instead of looking at a mechanical model.
Absolutely agree with you. But we require that kind of mechanism, and that's only possible if we address the governance. If we address the governance, we can include that. And a lot of the things we have said, whether rainwater harvesting actually happens, whether recycling actually happens, whether sewage treatment actually happens, whether equity happens, whether water bodies are protected, all of these, and demand side management, reduction in wastage, all of this. For example, in Nagar, somebody said 250 mgd LPCD. The New Delhi area gets more than 450 LPCD per capita. And when the whole of the Delhi was suffering for crisis 2 years back, for the first time in history, NDMC water was cut by 50%. For 4-5 days it was cut. and then once water came back to Yamuna in the normal flow, there was huge pressure to first reverse that cut. But they could survive with 50% cut. And I think they can survive with even higher. In Malviya Nagar, where this privatization pilot project is getting, the DPR says the current supply is 286 LPCD. Now you can imagine an actual requirement. I mean, if you see your environment or anybody of us, it's not more than 100 LPCD. 100 LPCD is a luxury actually. You don't need more than that. So I think there is, but all of this is possible if there is what we need is really is much more awakened citizens, what Manu said, and lot of pressure from the citizens to see that the whole Delhi Jal Board becomes more transparent. First step, that will be the first step. Then how to make it more accountable. RWS, through RWS it can become more participatory. Similarly, I think there are a lot of things that can be done. We have been saying, for example, that each STP, now why is STP not functioning? Nobody knows. So we have been saying for each STP, there should be a management committee in which 50% of the members should be the local population and 50% should be technical and government people. And those people should be, that committee should be legally empowered. And they should meet every quarter. And they should put their agenda notes and minutes in the public domain. It's just an example. Now, this kind of mechanism, there are many such mechanisms are possible to postulate and suggest. Manu Bhatnagar is involved in whole, cleaning up a whole drain, one of the 19 drains of one of the 32 drains of Delhi through bioremedial measures, but with very little cost, and cleaning up the whole thing. Now that can actually, and he has been working for it for long. After long, he has achieved work on starting on one of them. Now if the government had woken up earlier, all of the drains could have been treated like that, and which much lower cost, we could have actually brought the water to recyclable level. Now, recycle doesn't necessarily mean drinking water level. Recycle can mean at very different levels of water use. So I think there is a lot of possibility, but and the government is not going to do it on its own. Unless there is a strong citizens' pressure, it's not going to happen. And I think if there is a pressure, I think there is a lot more is possible. So I think on industrial pollution, I think it's a very serious issue. I don't know, some of you saw the report from Delhi University Geology Department recently, which showed that there is alarming level of arsenic in groundwater level in some of the places in Delhi. Now that's coming from thermal power projects in Delhi, the ash that they are dumping, so fly ash. So there are lots of such alarming issues coming up. Groundwater being out of sight, it remains out of mind. We don't know what's going on, the levels and quality and so on. But there is a lot more that needs to be done on that count. And on the issue of, to say that the dams actually protect from floods, you should go to Srinagar right now and see what's happening downstream. You should have gone to downstream of Ukai in 2006, or you have gone to downstream of Hirakud in 2008, 10 and 11. And so many other examples where actually dams also have created floods because of completely non-transparent management of reservoir operation in India. And there's no accountability. Nobody has been ever held accountable for anything. In 2005, just I'll end with that example, how disastrous it can be. And in this year, there have been a lot of people have died because of the wrong operation of dams, this year itself. But in 2005, downstream of Narmada Sagar Dam, 70 people were drowned because of sudden release of water in summer from the dam. Because, dams, these hydropower projects generate power when they want to during peaking hours and when they don't want to. So sudden release of water, there was at Dharaji, there was a mela going on. And the NHDC said, we didn't know who mela was going on. The district administration said, we had informed them. And how did they inform them? The SDM wrote, the district magistrate had asked them to write a letter to the dam authorities to warn them there is a mela going to happen. This chap wrote a letter which he posted in 2005. He posted it by a simple post 3 days before the mela. So those people never got, in fact, that letter has not reached till today. But 70 people died and nobody has been held responsible. This is just an example. There in the Surat floods in 2000, or Machu floods. There was a Machu dam disaster in 1979, killed, government says 2,200 people. of non-official estimates go up to 25,000, including political parties. Again, nobody was held responsible. CWC cleared the design. That was later on found out they didn't have spillway capacity that it was likely to get the floods off. So there are many such issues. We don't have a proper dam safety, reservoir operation, transparent policy, accountable policy. So it's not going to help. The same water, it's not that we are against use of water, but the same water can be harvested with a large number of smaller systems. But that option is never in the mind of the water establishment. Thank you. Though on lip service level it is, but actually it is not.
Just to answer the Miranda college student about the industrial pollution. You see, in Delhi, nobody has ever been punished for the polluter has never been punished. Okay, DPCC has fined nobody, punished nobody, penalized nobody. We have 15 industrial estates, and instead of every individual having his own proper ETP plant, negotiated solution was worked out many years back, where CETPs, common effluent treatment plants, were situated in all of them. And none of them is found to be giving an effluent discharge which meets the standards of discharge. There is no two ways about it. Their own tests tell them. Because every day there's such a variation in the soup which comes into the CETPs, and especially, you see, it's very difficult to remove toxic elements, heavy metals from such things. And it should be the responsibility of the individual polluter to have removed these. But it doesn't happen. And why? Because those people have the lobbying power with the political parties. Otherwise, the principle of polluter pays should apply, and every individual should have his own proper effluent treatment plant. That hasn't happened.
Thank you. I think it's been very interesting. I'd just like to say at the end of it is that as Toxics Link, we did carry out a study by testing the vegetables which are grown on the floodplains of Yamuna way back in 2007. And we found very high levels of lead and cadmium in all the vegetable samples that we tested. So that's testimony to what you were saying about industrial pollution and heavy metals found in this. So this will continue to happen. Yamuna has been killed. In fact, I only wish that these water bodies, when we're talking about Delhi in terms of water, I'm not talking only what is there in the taps, but the bodies which are there, the whole ecological system that is there. The river is not just about some water flowing through a pipeline, but it is a whole ecological system that we're talking about. We're talking about fishes, we're talking about other kinds of systems which is supported by this river basin, that needs to be regenerated. And that's the sad part of Delhi, that we have lost all of it. We have lost a lot of traditional water bodies which were there. I think that is the sadder part of the whole thing. We need to really look into it and try and see that, these kind of systems and water bodies are regenerated in the city. Thank you very much. It was been very lively to have you sitting till so late. Thank you. And thank you, panelists. It's been very, very nice to have all three of you here today. Thank you, sir. So nice.